we're talking about reworking on the hotel revenue streams. Now, this session will be moderated by Mr. Vikramjit Singh, who's the president of Lemon Tree Hotels, and he's also one of the founding members of the Lemon Tree Hotels team, and he's also been responsible in strengthening the company across the nation. Joining him, we have our panelists. We have with us Mr. Ritvik Khare, who's the COO GCC business with global key accounts and international hotel supply with Make My Trip, and he's always been someone who's come with an insightful approach and exemplary diligence that matter. And as we all know, Make My Trip is already a pioneer in adopting technology in order to enhance customer experience. Going on, we have Mr. Noshir Marfatia, who's the Senior Vice President, Sales and Marketing with the Fern Hotels. He comes with 3 decades of prolific experience, steering forward the concept hospitality with his expertise as well. We also have the Joint Managing Director of 1589 Hotels, which is an Indian-based hospitality company, imbibing the 65-year-old CEO of Jushta Hotels, another hospitality industry veteran, Mr. Ashish Vora. As they say, Jush means welcome. So warm welcome to you as well, sir, to the panel. And then we also have with us Mr. Ashwini Kumar, who's the Vice President and Head of Contracting and Vendor Management, Le Passage to India, and Product Head with Hotel Beds India. He also comes with close to 2 decades of experience in tourism sector as well. So yes, we have an amazing set of expertise and experience joining us right here in our first panel discussion. I see a lot of attendees already joining in, so a warm welcome to you as well. A warm welcome to you, presenters. We continue with the panel discussion, and I hand over the proceedings to Mr. Vikramjit Singh. Mr. Vikram, over to you, sir.
Great. So let me start with Ashish. Ashish, you've got tons and tons of experience. You've seen a lot of ups and downs, every so-called cycle that we all can think of and remember. Tell me, how do you see the hospitality cycle panning out for the next 2 to 4 quarters and then over the next 18 to 24 months in terms of occupancy and ARR?
Okay, as Ritvik had said yesterday, to be prepared for your bouncers, Vikram, but I am no Sachin Tendulkar. But since you asked me to open, let me start.
Cheers.
See, I think there is, our business is a composite product. Okay, we are now, I think, among the many industries, we are more globally integrated than lots of others. I think one have more day than ever before, neither too pessimistic nor too optimistic. Because I think if you really ask me, things are changing almost on a weekly basis, if not on a daily basis. One can't really have a very, very long-term view. But if one has to take a punt, I think the first 2 quarters of this financial year are a washout for sure. I think we'll see some green shoots and business coming back by November. And I think, again, there are too many ifs and buts, the vaccine, the treatment, therapies, and so on and so forth. But if one has to really take a punt, keeping in mind the Indian domestic traveler and, hygiene, sanitization, and so on and so forth, one can look at a 25 to 30% occupancy in Q3, and people who hold on to their ARRs, I think, will be seen as a cut above the rest in terms of hygiene, safety, security, because, the lower the rate, I think, the more the questions will be about the hygiene, safety, security aspect, if the person is investing enough to follow them or not. If you really ask me, 18 to 24 months, I'm very, very hopeful. I think we'll have the vaccine by then for sure. Most of the population would be vaccinated. People will be able to travel with their passports being stamped, almost like the yellow fever stamp that we had, certificate that we have to carry if we travel to Africa. I think September 21 onwards, we should be more or less back to normalcy in terms of ARR, in terms of occupancy levels. Uh, Before that, it's going to be a slow climb up. It's going to be two step forward, one step behind. As I keep telling my team that we are not talking to a standing army. We are talking to a moving parade. So things are going to be constantly changing, and we have to keep adapting to it. But I think in the long run, things will come back. In my mind, also in the short term, the business hotels will come back. In the long run, the resorts will make a bigger comeback. I also want to give you one or two interesting examples. I was talking to a friend of mine in US, and he was saying that he tried to book the Utah Amman, and it's not available. Okay, so people are traveling in America. I saw the newspaper article in today's Times of India where they say that Airbnb is seeing a rebound faster than imagined. At the same time, I think the jury is still out if it's going to be a V-shaped recovery or it's going to be a U-shaped recovery of the global economy, which we are integrated with. So I think we have to constantly adapt. But this is my futuristic projection at this point of time, as of today, Vikram.
Great. But Naushir, that brings me to you. Yeah. Do you think it's going to be a race to the bottom in this very, very demand-starved environment? What do you think is going to happen to prices, and specifically, corporate rates, the RFPs that will kick in for next year? What's your view on the pricing, boss?
So see, we are also looking at a very sort of. Sorry.
Sorry, I said. There is a theoretical view and there is an actual view that you see on the ground. So my question would be, what do you think is actually going to happen on the ground?
So see, the thing is that right now we've just opened about 33 of our hotels last 4 days. So we're still looking at a sort of wait and watch policy. One of the things is that we've opened in our traditional off season. So as it is, the RFP rates and the contracted corporate rates, etc., are much lower in any case than what they were over the last winter season. And therefore, right now, we haven't still seen any sort of push on us or a demand for drop-in rates. Yes, there have been some entities that have asked us if we are relooking at our rates. But as far as our mid-scale hotels go, we're already in the 2,500 to 4,000 rupee corporate rate range. And I think people also are not, everyone's aware that, hotels are spending more in terms of the safety and hygiene standards. And as Ashish was saying, a hotel that is in the luxury or the mid-segment space, at least people are assured that, the sort of health standards that are being followed, there is that comfort level. And all this obviously comes with a price. So right now, I'm not seeing too much of a sort of a push on us to significantly drop our rates. But having said that, once more and more hotels open, obviously, I don't think till at least October, November, we're going to see more than 25%, 30% occupancy levels at all our hotels. And so what happens then? So for example, whilst our corporate rates are still holding, if there's a specific group, like there was a group in Ahmedabad, and my general manager was talking to me on Tuesday about it. There were 5 hotels that were bidding for this group in Ahmedabad. And obviously, the rates were going totally downhill. Finally, we had to take a call that we are withdrawing. It's not economically viable for us to take this sort of a group. So those sort of instances, I guess, if there's some bulk business, etc., there may be a pressure on rates for hotels. But then it's also up to us to see how low do you want to go. I mean, is it worth taking a business that is not viable in the current scenario in terms of the ROI on that road? So right now we are holding firm, and we'll have to just wait and see. I think we've lost Vikramjit again.
And I think we've lost Ritvik also.
Ritvik, yeah.
We lost Ritvik.
So till Vikram comes, Anant, what do you see in your hotels? Is there a rate pressure coming to you?
So there is rate pressure definitely, especially in the larger segment. In the middle segment, which is our Gen X and 1589, there's less of a rate pressure because in off-season, like you mentioned, rates were anywhere ranging between 1,500 to 2,500. But in the five-star segment, there's a definite rate pressure because there's very limited business and you need 30%, 40% occupancy to break even on your variable cost, not on your fixed cost. So therefore, there is a significant rate pressure, I would say, at this point in time.
Great. Sorry, I'm back on here. There's some problem with the connection, but Anand, good to hear your views on it. And that brings me to Ritwik. Ritwik, are you ready for the first bouncer?
I thought you already bowled that one to me, Vikram. only two in over.
So
I think we've lost him again.
Yeah, I think we lost Ritwik because I can't see him on the call, but we can come back to him. But Anand, staying with you here, tell me something. When do you see recovery happening for the leisure destinations here?
So honestly speaking, the resorts which are within driving distance from large cities, which could be capital cities like Delhi, Jaipur, or Lucknow, they will see a faster recovery because I think people will travel for leisure. Obviously, rates will be challenged, but people will travel for leisure within driving distance. And in addition to that, I see a lot of traction in the mid segment because
why would you say that?
Entry-level 5-star and the 4-star segment, typically which Lemon Tree also operates in, is going to see the recovery the first, because the thing is the rates will be too attractive for the budget traveler to avoid, and they will be too low they'll give incredible value for the premium traveler. So I see recovery in those two segments first, but still not before the third quarter.
But tell me, Anand, if you see irrationality coming out of the deluxe and the luxury segment, won't they pull all that business from the mid market?
Luxury segment, for example, like we have our like Palace in Varanasi, or Ashish has multiple luxury hotels in Udaipur. They have to a certain price point, right? Certain value and amount of fixed cost which they will have to bear as to dilute the experience. Therefore, I feel that large hotels will be more poised to pick up that business, but at a much lower rate, rather than the super premium classes of the world, or the of the world. I think the rates will be better poised to pick up that business now.
Vikram, I have a view on this.
Haji, sir, I was waiting to hear from you, sir.
Okay. No. I want to give you two examples, and I think it will really be a litmus test. And I think this Bangalore-based headquartered company called Evolveback Resort, and I'm sure some of you would have read the Economic Times article. They did this pre-purchase coupon scheme, and they raised 3 crores. And if you really look at their rate, they have not really dropped their rates. They've dropped their rates per night by only 5,000. Their public rates are only 20,000. If I remember correctly, they've brought it down to 15 or 12,000. That's the first example I want to give. The second example I want to give, I was talking to some of my friends at Oberoi, and they are seeing a huge surge in the wedding queries that are coming in for small, medium weddings. Okay, 20-room wedding, 30-room wedding, the whole of one of the Vilas's wedding. So I think the luxury segment is actually, and if you speak to people in Amman and Six Senses and stuff like that, they are not dropping rates, and they are seeing a huge surge internationally in their business. So I think for an Aurika kind of a product or anywhere like that, I think the demand is going to be far more robust than what we are going to look at in the mid market or so. And dropping price beyond a point is going to be suicidal. It's not going to really help. And I can tell you this from my previous experience, that the Oberoi Group bled its way through for Raj Vilas, for Uday Vilas, for almost every property. But they really never compromised on the price in a big way. So I don't see them really dropping it beyond a particular level. I think the luxury segment should be able to hold its prices, and the customer is also not so price sensitive in that particular segment beyond a point.
That's good to know, and that's good news for all mid-market operators.
I agree with you completely. That
Ashwini, that brings me to you. Yeah, I mean, your traditional business, the inbound business, is still, many quarters away, if not a year plus.
Inbound business
how do you see
is September 21, boss.
See, Vikram,
what's your story between now and then? Yeah.
See, I tell you, Vikram, what we see is that certainly inbound will take a little longer than other segments before it bounces back. But what we see, the demand has been deferred. There is demand. It has been deferred. And what we will have to see is that how things unfold. People are waiting to travel and wanting to travel. That is certainly there. But it has to see that how things unfold, how we open up, and how the world opens up, how airlines going to start, how the health advice is going to work, how the government norms are going to work. These are the things which are going to play a vital role. I can give an example. Our parent company, TUI, operates charters to Goa. And they have seen a surge in demand. This business operates from November to April. Last year, in 2019, TUI operated 4 flights a week to Goa from London.
Okay.
This year, they're planning to add 1 more flight. So they are seeing a demand going up. Traditional inbound will take a little longer. Long haul will take a little longer. Group travel is going to take backseat, because unless and until the vaccine or some drug comes out, so it will see. So that's how it looks out to us at this point. Let me see, it is going to come back.
Okay, so you're saying some early signs could come in as early as what, November, December?
As early as November, December, yes.
That's good to hear. I think Ritwik's back for the bouncer. Yeah, Ritwik. So we were all waiting for you.
Sorry, I think you guys removed me at the right time. This is, I think you guys only have a private chat.
So Ritwik, let me ask you a question which a lot of people
before Vikram could bowl unnecessary bouncers, he was.
Yeah.
Correct.
So, MMT just launched a safety and hygiene program, guys, with a lot of fanfare. Now, tell me something, at this time when hotels have no revenue, they have no revenue to pay salary, they don't have revenue to pay, for essentials. Why should they invest in a program of this nature? Many people even call it a gimmick, So, what's your thoughts on it?
No, I think it's more than a bouncer, but anyways, let me take it, because first of all, you didn't invite me where the fanfare happened, because I don't think we did any fanfare when we launched this very critical program. But let's talk about this, because it's an interesting one, and I've been hearing a lot about this program from our hotel partners, which is always a good news, because it is generating the right kind of interest and the right kind of feedback from partners. I'll take a couple of minutes and talk about this program in the next 2 minutes. So, after the lockdown happened, Make My Trip has been doing a lot of work with consumers to try and find out literally when things come back, how are they going to come back. And we've invested a lot of time in building out a phase-wise recovery process, a phase-wise revival process. In all those, customer connect programs, as well as focus group discussions, I think one thing was coming out very, very clearly, that, the number one factor to get people back into hotels is going to be a hygiene assurance program. And hygiene assurance is the top. In fact, 70% in 2 or 3 of our surveys were rated this as #1 above even, factors like pricing and star category and brand, etc. In fact, more than 100, actually the entire 100% of our population rated it in the top 3. It was critical to launch a program like this. Now, I want to talk about 3 or 4 points as to why we are doing this and what we are doing. So, from a hygiene program point of view, look at Make My Trip. We do 80-85% of visits on a 6-inch device, on a mobile phone. We have about 85,000 properties listed across India. Now, this poses a challenge. How do you convey consistently a very smart hygiene assurance to the customer? So that's the background. While developing this with hotels, and you'll be surprised to know how many hotels had given us feedback while we were building this out. We were, evaluating 2 or 3 partners, and finally we worked with Deloitte, one of the big 4 reputed agencies, to come up with a program, for the industry, which can really give an assurance to people across the length and the breadth. The need for Make My Trip to come up with a program like this is very simple. We work with 80,000 hotels. We know that every hotel will be focusing on hygiene and safety. However, there is a need for a certified program which can give customers the consistent assurance. Having Deloitte as a partner adds that whole solidity to the program. Beyond this, as far as once you offer such a reputed agency program with literally well thought through WHO guidelines and Government of India guidelines incorporated, I don't think it's actually anything but a gimmick if you ask me, from that point of view. I also want to make 2 last points quickly and then hand it over back to you. One is that MMT has no real role in this program beyond just being a facilitator. And the second part of that is that we really have zero commercial interest in this. So, it's a very, very transparent 3-way partnership between us, Deloitte, and the hotel. And Make My Trip has no commercial interest in this whatsoever. In fact, it has no role in the audit as well. So that's very, very critical to know and very important to understand in that sense. The second most critical part, which is very critical, and I totally hear you when you talk about hotels being under stress, and nobody other than us knows it across, because we are in touch more than ever before with all our partners, that this has been kept at literally, and while I won't mention about specific pricing here, but it's as, the whole idea of making this really, really inexpensive. And I think Deloitte has done a great work with us to offer the industry a standard which everyone can, literally adapt. So, I really do want to underline this is actually anything but a gimmick. It's a very, very important initiative. And, I think it will do a lot to the industry in the coming years.
Thanks, Ritvik. Thanks for clarifying, because a lot of people had these questions about the program, about what you're charging, about is there a markup, what if you don't participate. So thank you for clarifying. The problem is every time I throw a bouncer, you hit the ball out of the stadium here. So I've got to be very careful.
No. Thanks. Actually, good news is that this topic is now being discussed, and I'm sure that's always good news.
Naushir, that brings me to you. Yeah, what do you think of ancillary revenues? The traditional revenues. How else do you think?
Sorry, Vikram, you seem to have frozen. I can't hear the question.
Naushir, I would like to come in. I'm a standby moderator for this panel discussion.
Right.
So, Vikramjit Singh, last question was, what do you think about ancillary revenues? Because that's something which a lot of other, hotel companies are trying to focus on to make sure how to top up for the lost revenue, which probably we are foreseeing in near future.
Yeah. So obviously our big stream revenues of banquets, MICE conferences is gone for the current quarter, perhaps the next quarter also. This is obviously impacting the bigger hotels much more than hotels like ours with an average of 50 to 60 room inventories, because hotels with 50-60 room inventories didn't really have large banqueting spaces. So I think whilst we are seeing almost, we're estimating almost a 60 or 65% drop in our banquet revenues, and the F&B revenues, it doesn't impact us as an overall percentage as much as, say, a hotel with 12 banquet halls, 15 banquet halls, etc. But having said that, in terms of ancillary streams, at a lot of our hotels over the last 1 month, we started home deliveries and we started takeaway services, which we were never doing before. And that has seen a good pickup. At all our hotels, if you are taking a home delivery or a takeaway, we are putting the safety features on the packaging in terms of the temperatures of the chef, of the server, etc. In a lot of cities, we are using our own staff to do the deliveries, etc. So we're not sort of piggybacking on a Zomato or a Swiggy. So that is one stream. The other stream that we've found a little bit of success in some of our city hotels is where companies have taken over a banquet space or some of our rooms as their work from hotel space. So you have office, 10% occupancy in the office, you have some people working from home, and then you have some people working from hotel. So that also has been a stream that, especially in business districts, like Powai or BKC, etc., in Mumbai, we've seen a few queries coming for that sort of things. So those are the two sort of immediate ancillary sectors, streams that we are looking at. Also, in the last 4 days that we've been open, our city hotels have seen about 20-25% occupancy. And from Monday to yesterday, there has been a significant increase. So one is hoping that as offices open, and obviously interstate travel is still a no-no, because there's a huge question mark today whether I, sitting in Bombay, can go to my hotel in Bangalore or not without any quarantine or COVID test, etc. But all our Gujarat hotels have opened, and within Gujarat, we started seeing a lot of business coming in. So my Rajkot City Hotel, my Ahmedabad City Hotel, my Baroda City Hotel is seeing local corporate business coming in. So that's the thing. In the last 1 month, in all the discussions and forums, we all said, and I was one of the most vociferous in that, saying that self-drive holidays, weekend getaways will take off first, but that's really not happening. Right now, the business hotels, I think, will recover much faster, because people are still a little wary of getting into their own car and driving off to, say, from Rajkot, driving to Somnath or driving to Sasangir. We're not seeing much pickup in that. However, in Maharashtra, I'm quite confident, because in our discussions with our travel agent partners, with some corporates, etc., places like Lonavala and all seem to have a lot of pent-up demand, which I think will sort of explode once Maharashtra opens, from Mumbai and Pune especially. So I think it's case to case in each place. But one good news is that for yesterday, for example, we had our first 50 packs social distancing party in our Bhavnagar hotel. And they have
That's good to hear.
2 or 3 other small wedding inquiries for June and July. So as Ashish was saying, I think if 1 or 2 of these happen and people see it in the state and everything works out fine, then straight away you'll see much more of these segments happening.
Excellent, Naushad. That's very good to hear that there is some demand coming in. But Anand, I'd like you to tell me, what else do you think we can do or what else are you doing at your chain?
So, I think I agree with Naushad in whatever he's saying. But in addition to that, I think hoteliers will have to look at themselves as real estate. And we are looking at long stays. We'll have to rework the entire hotel in terms of if you want to divide it, then you can look at it. You can look at out a certain part of your hotel to a hotel to buy. I'm talking for the short term. Is of course for the larger hotels. The second thing is that the business which all your long-term rental players like Nestaway, etc. are into. That is a great segment for us as hoteliers to tap into, whereby we can give long-term rentals to CXOs within the hotel. Of course, the fastest pickup, which we are also seeing, is in the delivery segment of food, wherever, because we're known for food in a lot of our cities we are present in. So that is a segment, and we are also doing our own deliveries. In fact, we've taken it a step further, and we are doing deliveries with our own chefs. So our chefs go in the car to deliver to each hotel house. But apart from that, in terms of business travel, we are only seeing business travel related to infrastructure. So, for example, if someone's building a road or someone's doing a project, we are seeing infrastructure related business travel, but less so in the consultancy space or in the auditor space, which you typically see at March end. And I think everyone at this point of time is looking at ways and means of generating revenue through different asset class and different sectors, not just the hospitality from your hotel.
Thanks, Anand. That was good to know. Coming back to Ashish, do you think that, going forward, hotels will gravitate to chains to the larger chains rather than, continuing to operate as standalones?
I think, again, it depends on the brand coming back to the Evolve. Yeah. Yeah, Vikram?
Sorry, please continue. Yeah, no.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I think, the brand strength is the key differentiator. I think, again, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was saying that all the homestays in Uttarakhand are almost running full in July and August. So, one has to see things in a context. In my mind, Evolveback is not a large chain, but, they have immense goodwill and immense, very, very strong back office processes, and they've done a fabulous job. And I think it's not the number of hotels which will differentiate. I think it's what you will stand for and how do you differentiate your product or delivery, or how the customer perceives you. Needless to say that, if you have two hotels in the same city and one has to pay a premium to stay in a branded hotel, one will please stay there. More so hotels. In case of resorts, people will obviously say, for example, if you're a villa hotel or you might prefer that over something which is multi-story and so on and so forth. So I think it's a complex, the customer behaving process is going to be more complex and more different, and a lot of, it's an evolving process. But I think ultimately the comfort of the brand, even if it's a one hotel or a 3-hotel chain, say in case of Evolveback, is something that will determine where you want to stay. And in the city hotels, I definitely see a branded hotel preference. There I would agree with you, Vikram.
Thanks, Ashish. Thanks for those inputs. Ashwini, I would like to bring you back in the discussion. What's your view on the outbound business? Are we going to see outbound business in the next 12 months?
See, we don't really operate in outbound space, so I won't be able to comment on what's happening outbound. But, I can refer to one study, the findings which I had access to. It was a travel intent study conducted by Google. This study was conducted by Google sometime in second week of May in US and some Western European countries. The study says that when the question was asked that if you book a travel which is likely to take place in 3 to 6 months, would you really like to travel? So the large majority of people said, and I'm relating it to Indian context also, because the human concerns by and large remain the same. So large majority of people say, so the 3-4 findings came out about. 26 to 43% people referred to is that they will not travel at all during this period. First finding. Second biggest finding was that people want to travel within the driving range of 50 to 100 kilometers from their home. Other finding was, third largest was that people would like to travel within the home country. Fourth finding was that people want to travel within the region, say maybe within Europe, something like this. and about 4 to 11% people said they will travel international. So if I go by that logic and apply to the Indian context, I do not see people will still want to travel overseas in 3 to 6 months' time, because there are a lot of restrictions in place. Even for that matter, domestic market, as Noshir also mentioned, that when you want to travel, what's happening every day, things are changing. Every state arbitrarily imposing some restrictions on the movement of people. So if I want to go to Jaipur tomorrow, I may have to stay 47 days in quarantine. I don't know. So everyone will think twice or thrice, and likewise applies to international travel also. Even people who are coming from overseas, they have to spend some time in quarantine. If that is the case, I think whether it is inbound or outbound, the international travel will take a beating. It is not a good sign for tourism. Unless that clarity comes in, and we have how we, in fact, in Indian context, how we handle the pandemic depends a lot on that. Currently, we are peaking. So if this continues for 1 or 2 months, the demand will get further deferred. So it's a very changing situation. Yeah.
But Ashwini, let me come back to my previous question. Would you be more comfortable putting your business in branded chains, or would you still continue using standalones? Because I know you guys do use a lot of standalones in multiple cities.
I think I can add a couple of points on outbound. See, from a Make My Trip perspective, we think outbound will be about 2 to 3 months lag behind domestic for sure. I mean, till the panelists come back, meaning as in the moderators come back, I'll add a line. And I think when they start, I think we will see short haul direct flight destinations as the first choice. So we are bullish on UAE, Thailand, Maldives amongst the first few to come back in a big way. And I think we're preparing for that as well. And we are very, very sure that with a 3-4 month lag, I think the only one thing we have to remember is that an obvious point is that, you know, both the countries have to be okay with accepting each other's citizens. Both India has to take back our citizens coming back without quarantine, and the hosting tourism country has to also accept Indians without quarantine for 14 days, 7 days, whatever it is. So I think once that is solved, which is the 3 to 6 month lag, I have a firm view that these markets, UAE, Thailand, Maldives, will be the first off the block with good demand. In fact, the number one destination, according to one recent survey, was UAE. 83% people wanted to consider that as one of the destinations they want to go to in the next year.
Excellent. But Ashwini, let me just come back to the question. Where would you be more comfortable placing your business?
Captain and White Captain.
Our business is very, very price sensitive. So we have, of course, we operate different kind of hotels. It's not only standalone. We also operate chain hotels, branch hotels, international hotels. So it's not a right thing to say. But yes, in the present context, when safety and hygiene is at the top of the ladder, so the safety, hygiene, and SOP-driven hotels will be, of course, a preferred hotel at this point in time. And in this context, I think the branded hotels have an edge over standalone hotels because they are SOP-driven, they have better quality checks, and they will be better equipped to handle guest safety.
Thanks. Ritwik, it's time for the next bouncer here, with your permission. It is being said that, at this hour of need, OTAs should be really helping the hotels out. And the best way in which you can do this is by reducing commissions. So what's your view on that?
No, first of all, this is a bigger bouncer. So let me tell you that this is literally this is an illegal delivery. But
this is the beam. This is not bouncer.
Yeah, this is an illegal delivery. But anyways, let me take a crack at it. Vikramjit, see, first of all, March through June, a lot of the hotels have been shut. So literally, this conversation is getting relevant only now. What Make My Trip has done, and because we are now short on time, is quick 3 or 4 things I'll mention. One is we've launched several products which are at a very, very low commission. So we are giving a suite of products suite of programs which our partners can choose from, and most of our partners are aware of each of those programs. That is one. Second, we are doing a lot of work to ensure that we do a lot of cash generation products out there, and again that's coupled with a low distribution cost, lower rather, I relatively lower in that sense. The third point, and which is the most important, is that our biggest focus is on the revival and on getting our customers back. Marketing products, getting more and more traffic into it is our number one priority right now, and that is what I think the industry is also telling us. We've also on that line done a lot of analysis, Vikramjit, net of all sorts of costs without even taking the customer lifetime value into account. I do believe that we are amongst the most cost-effective distribution channels, and I think it's not a secret because ultimately in a perfect competition world, anything which is unreal will not survive. So I think we are at a spot today where I think it's a very, very cost-effective distribution channel. I think our focus will be more on getting the balance revenue up and in providing various other products which you can leverage. So I think these are the thoughts that we have on this topic. But happy to discuss with any chain which has specific discussions or any hotel and see what we can do together in the revival process.
Excellent. So that's good to hear. But Ashwini, tell me something here. Now that you're entering the domestic market, how do you think you're going to combat the coupon discounting that some large OTAs doing?
See, this coupon discounting is something which certainly puts a contractor like myself in a spot for a temporary phase. And it was a question mark on it that how come our rates are not matching up with that. But I tell you, as far as we are concerned, we are into B2B space. And we are not in hotel-only space, we are into a round-trip space. So this coupon discounting on hotel will certainly affect the hotel-only business. But as far as the round-trip business goes, I do not see much of an impact of it because it's a hidden price. So
I didn't know, Vikramjit, that you're throwing bouncers at the non-strikers end as well. But having said that, I think Vikramjit, you are nobody who does not know about coupons and how they started. So I think we should leave it at that.
But that's Ritvik's bouncer for you.
I've been throwing beam those say.
But those coupons keep people like us on.
These are beamers, not bouncers.
So we have to remain on our toes to find all the means and ways to get competitive price.
Ashwini, absolutely. In fact, on pricing per se, because I think there are a couple of pricing discussions which have happened. See, we operate in a 60-70% occupancy market. It's a perfect competition. Anywhere where there are 30-40 chains operating and there are another 70-75,000 hotels operating, it's a classic perfect competition as per the economics theory, right? Now, in that, the pricing is always a function of the demand and supply forces. So it's not something which any player in the ecosystem can control. It is literally the consumer and at the other end, the hotel partner, which is dictating this. And literally that, till we understand this point well and with clarity, we'll always be at angst with pricing-related questions and pricing-related topics. So I think that's my 2 cents on this entire pricing, couponing, and where we are headed from a pricing point of view as well.
Okay. Now, this question is actually for all the hoteliers on the panel, and I would request all of them to take, and I would love to hear your views on it. See, the customer today is typically paying you ARRs which were 30, 40, 50% below what your hotels were typically doing. They're consuming a lot of bandwidth. They're using Wi-Fi. They're using room service. Do we sense an opportunity in the services that are being used? I know there will be rate pressure. We may not be able to take up prices, but there are a lot of services which he's consuming in-house because he's in-house all the time. Unlike the typical customer who would check in, have breakfast, and you would never see him till late night. He's actually in your premises 24/7. So do you see an opportunity in juicing some revenue from him in the other services that he's consuming today? So I request anyone to take this here. Naushir, Ashish, Anant, anyone here. Because we are. Yeah, sorry.
No, please. You were saying? Okay, so we are.
Let me. Sorry. Let Naushir.
No, Ashish, go ahead. Ashish, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that we guys are adept at, killing ourselves
giving things
very well.
So
I'll give you another example. one, we have been giving things for free. Now you're operating in Udaipur, Vikram. I don't know if you've seen the Leela home delivery menu. Okay.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't.
Now,
Okay.
if you're going to give home delivery at that price, are you going to give room service at a higher price or what? Okay. So, you know, you've brought yourself down to, I'm sorry to say, local colloquial way, JMB level. Okay. So, what is remaining for you? I think we'll have to really look at pricing as something that if we are going to just keep reducing prices, we are all going to die a natural death for sure in 18 to 24 months. I think it's important to hold on to prices, and it's important to charge for prices on now, at least on the pretext that safety, hygiene, security, you know, better environment and so on and so forth is what we are offering you. If you're going to just play the price war, you know, a fair amount of hotels are going to close down for sure.
Yeah, I also
would love to hear you.
Yeah, no, I also agree with Ashish that, you know, at the end of the day, today, every survey that we've done, every guest that we've spoken to, in all respects, what's coming out is that my paramount importance or my paramount factor is safety, health, and hygiene. So obviously that comes at a cost. And if hotels succumb to pressures of just dropping or packaging and including everything free, then when the business starts picking up, maybe in November, maybe in December, it will take another 6 months to get back to those levels. So you're really shooting yourself in the left foot just now, and then in winter, you're shooting yourself in the right foot. So it really doesn't make sense. But having said that, yes, one can definitely look at giving some value add package to these guests who are sort of captive audience in your hotels. You know, so bundling services, for example, giving a special package of, say, 5 items of laundry at a rate that is much more competitive than individual pricing, or giving some sort of a packaged offer for breakfast, lunch, dinner. You know, that definitely helps. But if you're going to start giving free stuff, you start going to throw in stuff, and then you're going to drop the rate, then I mean, where will it end? It just doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Anant would love to hear your view on this one. Do you sense an opportunity given what he's consuming while he's in-house? Because you've got him captive for literally 24 hours of the day. He's not stepping out. He's in your premises. So what other revenue streams can you extract from him? I'm not sure if Anant is there. I think we'll come back to him. So, Anant, are you? No, he's logged out. Yeah. Anyway, let me come back to Ashish. Ashish, what's your advice for somebody who's wanting to become a hotel entrepreneur, wanting to enter the industry? What would you tell him?
Wait for a couple of years.
You're just late by about 20 years, buddy. I think I think in the long run we are all dead, but still I think the future is not all that bleak. I think the resort business in the long run is going to be much better off. Over a period of time, things will settle down. This is not the end of the world. We have to. This is once in a century thing. It's not the last time it happened. Something like this happened was 1918, I guess. So we have to look forward, and we have to be positive, and we have to, stay focused. So I don't think so. It's a bad idea to be in hotel business, but I would obviously relook at all the IRR projections and so on and so forth. And I think anyone who's able to buy at a great price, I think buying at the right price is possibly going to be the most crucial thing now going forward than anything else. Maybe Anant can
Thanks.
Anant can add to it.
Anant, you're the other entrepreneur in the group. So tell me, what's your advice to budding hotel entrepreneurs here? Will you tell them to enter the industry?
I think there's never been a better time than this thing. As available at trade, the value will be better in next quarter because the effects of the downturn are going to be seen, as per me, in September, October, maybe closer to November, and those assets will be the same value as today, maybe 2 to 4 years hence. So I don't think there's a better. I don't have seen a better time than to invest in hotel assets at this point of time. To buy assets. At the time, the people who assets, it's all about controlling loss and getting through this time.
Thanks. Thank you, Anand. So let me wind this up by asking. Sorry, Anand, you were saying something. Sorry.
I think RK is back.
Let me wind this up. Yeah. So let me be nice to him and ask him a nice question for the benefit of everyone in the group. So Ritvik, this is not a bouncer. I promise you that. Tell me, early signs of Unlock 1. Where do you think the business is going? Which are the key cities? What kind of people are traveling? So some insights and some gyan from you now.
No, I think firstly, thank you for some love my way, yeah, because it's evident how much you love me. But quickly, because again, short on time, we are seeing some very interesting things after Unlock. So after the 8th of June, thankfully the business has grown many fold, but obviously from 15 days ago, but obviously on a very small base. We are now seeing about 60-70% hotels in the allowed cities open. So we are seeing some interesting trends, and the most interesting of that, and it was not a surprise, but I think the extent of it is a little bit of a surprise to that extent. We are seeing today, tomorrow booking becoming literally 45 to 50% of the bookings for same city. So literally people from the same city booking hotels there, which anyways used to be a decent segment before, has come back like never before. So our biggest chunk today is people booking the same city, on for today and tomorrow. I think that was a pent-up demand which was bound to bounce back. On the business side, we have a very strong SME product. So the SME side, we are seeing some very interesting trends. We are seeing cities like Udaipur, like Amritsar, Goa. Apart from Delhi, Hyderabad, and I would say Delhi, Hyderabad, and Bangalore as the ones which are coming back very fast in that sense. Keeping all this in mind, I think Make My Trip is largely focusing on, and we have been discussing with all of you, 3 or 4 aspects. One, we are saying let's build the MyBiz product more and go deeper into the SME segment. They need to travel. Their business does not happen on Zoom. We are also building a product which is very interesting and showing good signs now, which is what we call as future travel vouchers. And we are working on the tech side of it to make it even better from a consumer and a hotel partner point of view. That is very promising. I think we're also working very hard on staycation and driving holidays, including, one of my colleagues is working very hard on building out sanitized cabs to supplement them. And last, we are thinking that there is a big segment coming out in long stays. And, I've seen in Dubai, for example, an example where hotels are converting themselves as a challenger to apartment stays. What will happen during these crisis times? Give me half a minute more. There are going to be a lot of people who will be shifting jobs either by choice or by compulsion. They will have to move to new cities. They will be moving cities. At that point in time, I think the hotel industry can step up and say at a premium to an apartment, I'm going to give a very good experience to the customer. And I think that's a segment which can come out very expectedly. 30-day plus stays in that sense. So these 3-4 things, and in the medium term, we're very hopeful and confident that things will come back.
Thanks, Ritvik. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. I haven't run out of bouncers yet, but that's for another forum. Thank you, everyone.